I think so. So,
Well, Sunday to everyone and warmest greetings. I'm Jeffrey Darty, the Christian Whistleblower. Welcome to the Christian Whistleblower channel. It's Sunday morning. You know what that means. He's R. Wayne Steiger, and this is not your normal Sunday show. Nice to be with you, Wayne.
good to see you, Jeffrey. How you doing?
I am doing excellent. I was up really late last night or really early this morning. I'm not sure which way you want to look at it, but things, it's we talk about things and we say things, and then all of a sudden they start getting real, and it's like, wow, this isn't just speculation. This isn't just mental masturbation or some kind of coitus. It's real.
You mean you have what you say, or
Just the stuff that we talk about, it really is real,
it
and
is
it's
real.
fixing to get even more real.
It's yeah. I was getting my tea before we came on, and the thought occurred to me: everything that you and I would put our lives on to say that we know in 100 years, most likely would be proven wrong.
Isn't that the truth?
I mean, it's a slippery slope when you start trying to define what is and what is not.
We got some good questions in the chat room already. Robert, USN vet, third generation, says,
Rob.
ever consider the effect on humanity living in a 3D holograph if we went straight to 5D, if the 7.62 hertz signal from the moon that cancels as human resonance is keeping us trapped in 3D, if it was turned off, what would happen? That's a deep question.
Well, we have to take number one, the premise that the moon is not just a naturally occurring celestial body.
It would seem that he is suggesting that there is a signal being sent from the moon that cancels the Schumann resonance and keeps us trapped in 3D.
Robert, this way I look at things, every day is becoming a new revelation for mankind. What was it just 8 days ago? They told us on the southern end of the pole of the moon, a huge metal, whatever it is.
Oh,
the
that's
size,
right. Something
yeah,
underneath the surface.
something be big. And the other thing about the moon, they also said this week, these flashes, no one knows what they are.
We're
Uh,
not talking about hot flashes, are we, Wayne?
no, you can actually see them if you're fortunate enough to be looking at the moon. They're showing up more and more frequently. They are flashes on the surface of the moon.
Like flashes of what, Wayne?
Light.
Really, just flashes of light.
Yeah, we don't know. They're on the surface, and they're starting to happen with regularity. So I don't know. Was in fact what Neil Armstrong was supposedly said in the back channels that we were warned?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Let's see. Oh, dude, I just lost it. There's a nice comment in here. Robert again says, is there technology breaking down?
Well,
And
here's a thought for you.
Cliff Desmond's ready to dig into the dung and find some diamonds.
We just compress.
I like it. I like it.
So, I read an article this week again that they now know that there is a Planet 10 out there, or Planet 9. They're understanding that Uranus, that pain in the ass,
Mm-hmm.
it
The gas giant.
it literally came tumbling in, and we see the same effects on Neptune. Neptune's on its side right now. Neptune is out of its orbit.
KTM says that she listens to your radio show. She's bookmarked it. It's a great program.
Oh, well, thank you. It's a little bit more freedom of thought, and thank you. Appreciate that.
And by the way, our good friend Jenny Moonstone is having a special right now. I think through the weekend, 25% off her readings. They're amazing. And we did a show a couple days ago about the Tuatha De Danann, and that looks like that's going to turn into a series. And Wayne, I think that those, what we look at as Irish gods, might have been what the Elohim were patterned on, and they may have stolen, they being the Christians, may have stolen almost all of their iconography, almost all of their tenets from this powerful group of Irish deities.
Now, isn't that interesting? Because Rome, and sorry, I'm eating a cough drop. It got down to
It's
40
okay.
degrees here last night, folks. I
Wow.
woke up with a little bit of sore throat. So Rome, Britannia, is one of the annuals of the Roman Empire that has always struck me as odd. The Goths, when they went up into the Rhine country, got that, figured that out, the whole wars. But Britannia had something very, I contend, spiritual, magical about itself. And when they were putting the Christian religion together, they made three attempts using Mediterranean, Eastern deities, versions thereof. They didn't work. So it makes perfect sense to me. You pull something down, for instance, the Druids and that whole thing. Paul, if Paul lived, he seemed to be very fascinating. The 29th chapter of Book of Acts. I have it. It's in the Bethany Bible. It says that he spent a decade with the Druids.
Pretty amazing stuff. And speaking about the matrix breaking down, speaking about the system breaking down, I'm going to show you some pictures that I think Cynthia actually took here. And I'll just show you part of them right here. And I wish that you could really capture what you saw, but it looked like, if you see this dark area over here, it kind of looked like the sky was coming, like the hologram was breaking down. The layers weren't laying properly, and then here comes this sudden chemtrail to kind of try to cover up the gap. And you had those two. Anything that looked strange about those to you before I show you the rest of them?
Oh yeah, you're getting the triangle up there on the right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. And let me pull up the rest of them. But it looks like it actually, I remember seeing this, and I don't know why I didn't show these until now. It looked like the sky was coming. The layers were spreading apart. You know how they take pictures of everything in slits, and I don't know what the right word, but it looked like, to me, it was. Oh, you can see this this one here. You can see it a lot better. It looked like it was coming undone to me. Look at this one, Wayne. And I got a couple more things I want to show you this morning that are amazing. You can kind of see what I'm talking about here.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It looked like it was just a gap was showing, and then they tried to cover it up.
Now let me just tell you something that you probably missed on this picture. Number one, do you see the rainbow going across?
Oh, I do. Now that you point it out.
Now, let me just give you a little lesson here in
Please do, because I'm not a sky guy.
So you see your chemtrail?
Yes, this right here.
All right. Yes. Tell me, how is that producing a shadow?
Yeah, that was the thing. Is it? You mean over here?
Yeah.
Or over here? This was here before the chemtrail. This was like a gap, but you can still see a shadow of the chemtrail, which is weird too. I never thought about that until you.
Actually, I think you captured. It's a pretty weird picture.
What do you think was captured?
Well, I think you got a very large celestial object.
This almost looks like some type of a cylindrical object.
All right, but look at that picture again. So look on either side of your chemtrail and your shadow. You have a breaking of the light spectrum, but look what happens at the shadow. It's disrupted.
It is, huh?
Now, how is that supposed to happen if you're taking it from the same point of perspective? Your camera is looking up. So number one, I'm trying to tell you is that you have that observation, which is potentially a shadow. The problem I've got is that with the rainbow, the object that I think you really are capturing, the light is distorted again at that dark point.
Interesting stuff.
How does that happen?
I don't know. And I think there's one more good picture of that, and I want to show you a fascinating picture that was sent to me. And this is another good shot of this whole thing. This was a really, and then we'll move on after this, but I got to show you this other picture that was sent to me that was just amazing. Here's one more shot of the whole thing. And this up here, you can begin to see your rainbow still, and it looks like I don't know. It all if it was a Star Trek show, I would say it looks like something's being decloaked behind there.
It is being cloaked. And there's your anomaly. All your evidence is right there, where the obfuscation is happening with light. Everything is light. So the sun comes in, hits the Earth's atmosphere. The Earth's atmosphere is dense, it's thick. And when you get inside the Earth's atmosphere, which goes out nearly 1 million miles from the terrestrial point, yeah, there's something there. And again, whoever took the picture,
Cynthia took it.
hey, Cynthia, good capture there, girl.
Or I took these. I'm not sure, but we were both standing there.
Yeah, so now, if you just have to examine, I think you can see my mouse. I'm not sure, but at this top where the obfuscation begins, that break.
We can't see yours. Are you talking about up here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's, and I think what actually, if you look at that dark section and go over to the right, you can begin to see how the clouds are curving.
Yeah.
See them? There they are. Yeah.
Yeah. What would you say to the people that say, "Oh, Jeff, you just took a picture of Planet X"?
No, it's not Planet X. I don't think we understand dimensional realities, and we're so focused in on body, what we call body, that and spirit. We're not understanding that we think we live in a world where everything is peaches and cream, and that, you look at the blue sky, you got clouds, and you may have atmospheric anomalies. No, the great philosophers told us that we're actually interdimensional.
Absolutely.
And I think that goes for the solar system. I think it goes for the universe.
Here's something else to kind of look at. This just looks like a nice lady out in the woods doing her meditation. And, she's just out there meditating, enjoying herself. But Jenny and I were talking about the realm of the Fae, or some call them the fairies. And if you look a little closer in this picture,
you can see it right there.
Yeah, I'll pull it up. It's like it's just amazing, this picture. And this is this is the best photographic evidence, I'll call it evidence, that I've ever seen for there to be the Fae. Am I still sharing that? No.
Mm-mm.
Here we go. This, to me, is the best photographic evidence I've ever seen for the Fae.
And there they are.
And if you look at this right here, she's about 2 feet tall, got blonde hair. Even her hair is even styled like Tinkerbell's. A red pink dress with a blue shawl over it. And I'm getting goosebumps just pointing her out. I mean, that, ladies and gentlemen, to me, that is some great photographic evidence. See if I can make her bigger. Yeah. Of one of the Fae looking into our world.
Yep. By the way, they have some really nasty ones too.
Yeah. Well, can you imagine, if they're nature spirits, how pissed off they are at us?
So I tell people this all the time. Go up to Humboldt County in California. And
I was there with Patrick J. Buchanan.
Yeah. Go out and spend a little time in those, one of the last places on Earth, by the way, where the tree spirits still live. They're 2,000-3,000 years old. And if you're in the right vibration, right mindset, they'll appear to you. They're beautiful.
It's you have an interesting picture when you say, "Oh yeah," and by the way, there's an orb. You're not even looking at the orb.
Yeah, the orb was right down there below. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. And by the way, to show you things that are odd, so I have.
Yeah, this is odd pictures morning.
Give me a second here, because I want to show you.
Take 5 seconds, Wayne.
Hey, let me just pull one up for you, because I have something that I found very curious. This is Trina.
I know Trina.
Yep. Well, let me share this with you. So she has this unique ability of interacting with the indigo beings.
Oh, interesting.
So this is her and her friend. And if you look at her friend's breast.
If you force me, Wayne, I will.
There it is. Look at that.
What is that? Oh boy. I actually thought of making a T-shirt for women like that, a white T-shirt with hands over. Look at that.
Yeah,
That's a not so nice spirit
yeah.
cop in a feel.
Hmm. And
And
Trina,
interesting, she has a cross necklace on.
well, the sigil. And by the way, I'm doing a research project of what I think is happening there. You can actually see whatever this being is. I don't know.
It has claws
Well, it has appendages.
and
I'll say that.
very the girl's there, right? She's real.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll
Yeah.
pull it back up. I mean, no, all of
No, I'm
this.
looking at it. I see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
David Gregg says, I wonder if she liked it. I don't think so.
Yeah, boy. I mean, you can say cop a feel, but come on, buddy. Oh, now I want to bring up another one.
Karen says it's a booby spirit.
This is Sue G.
We all know Sue G.
Yeah. So when she was recently in.
Somebody says it's a Joe Biden ghost.
Now, she was in Mexico. They're in a cave. She did not see this when she took the picture, but there they are. These are light beams.
Yeah, they look like, again, if this was Star Trek,
Mm-hmm.
these guys are coming to talk to Captain Kirk and
Yep.
work out a deal to avert destruction in the universe.
Well,
We
and here's
are
another.
the Metrons.
Check that out. They're insectoids, or looking insectoidish like.
I'm waiting for it to pop. I don't see it on the screen.
Oh, is it sharing yet?
Is that still the light beings? They look insectoidous?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can
Wow.
you see that?
It's a little too small for me to see it for some reason.
Oh, okay. Boom.
But I can definitely see that it does look like a coalesced, not really corporeal, but it has form.
Yeah. They were small.
Like how tall are they? What's I think in
she
perspective?
was saying they're probably about 4 feet, and the back ones were maybe 6.
It's interesting because the Fae that we saw, she was only like 2.5 feet tall. Is the density of their dimension greater than ours, so beings aren't as tall?
That's a good question. I mean, it is all about density, frequency.
Right.
I don't think we have the concept of the creator down yet.
Philip said maybe they haven't finished materializing yet. That's interesting. I didn't get that sense. It looked to me like they were fully manifested, but Philip could be right.
Again, if you look at Socrates, you look at
Socrates.
I love it because I'm thinking Bill and Ted.
Absolutely. Be excellent to each other.
Excellent, exactly. But all the great philosophers of, modern day philosophy where we built on, they said that we coexist in multiple dimensions, universes, realities.
And they're making a sequel to Bill and Ted.
Excellent.
What a great sense of humor. Whether Keanu Reeves is a reptilian or not, or a great guy, but what a great sense of humor they have to make a remake or a sequel to Bill and Ted when they're like 50 or something now.
Your head has to be in a special place.
It does. Or you must be smoking a lot of, or I don't know if you smoke mushrooms or what, but I suspect mushrooms are involved.
Well, if they are, then it's a happy place. So, Jeff.
Here we go.
This? We have seen in the last 20 years an interesting phenomenon in the Western culture. And that is the resurgence, the reincantation of tattoos.
Oh, and before we completely leave this, Robert says ask the question, are fairies trapped in the bleed over from the 3D holograph?
Oh, I think I don't know.
Or they manifest in a bleed over.
Yeah. Now I contend, I think you can get into a place where you can actually see these things.
Oh, absolutely.
I had one master sorcerer say to me, he said, the reason why we don't, he said, most people would go insane.
Oh, I'll bet. I'll bet.
Yeah.
I'll bet. And tattoos. There is a huge resurgence of tattoos, like all of a sudden.
Yes. So here I am, and I literally, this thought came to me yesterday. Most tattoos, by largest percentage, I went online, went to the tattoo shops, began to see what you could get. You know, you can make what you want, but by far the vast majority are sigils.
Doesn't surprise me at all.
And some of the sigils that people are tattooing to themselves, wow.
Yeah, I think if people thought through what they were tattooing to themselves, and I think people are unwittingly making some covenants and agreements that they probably should rethink.
Yes, sir. Thank you. That's exactly what's happening here. So I don't know if it was, you and I have talked about this, but anyway, contracts. Um, Contracts are always marked. In the old days, they used to have a wax and the seal. You know, that
Right.
was the thing of the king, that you knew that document was uncontaminated.
Oh, and Morris Tomcat says, and those are permanent sigils.
Yes, they are.
Tracy
And
Dyer says tattoos are a blood ritual. That's an interesting
they
take.
are. Yeah, it's a bloodletting,
Yep.
literally. And I had someone ask me why I wouldn't do it. And I said, well, number one, I have this huge phobia of needles.
You and
I
me
said,
both.
but I won't participate in a blood ceremony.
Yeah, I will never have any tattoos, and we're not condemning those that do. We're just
It's not,
talking.
no, but we have to be honest to what it is. It is a bloodletting, blood ritual ceremony. And the thing about it is, you are literally imprinting upon you these sigils that have been claimed by intelligences of a very high ranking.
And I think if you go way back to the actual origin of tattoos, you'll find a very spiritual um, connection, covenant origin for tattoos.
Well, in Indonesia, for instance, it was the rite of male passage.
Mm.
From boyhood to manhood, and the higher up a warrior was in status to the tribe, the more tattoos he would have displayed on him. And
Interesting.
all the tattoos were dedicated to their gods.
Interesting.
I don't think you can have a tattoo without dedicating it to something. Something is going to be occupying that skin. And
Well, there's absolutely at least an intention that goes into tattoos.
now, stop right there a second, Jeff. You just hit on something. So I started looking at some of these tattoo artists.
Ooh.
Many of them are into black magic.
And you just, I don't know. That's an interesting point. That's an interesting point.
All
Seems
right.
like a broad brush, but I can see that.
Intent. Tell me that tattoo artist isn't intent in what he is thinking as he's doing that tattoo.
Right. I guess my point would be they could be participating in what is essentially a black magic ritual without knowing they are, without having the intention of being black magicians.
I agree. I mean, it's like when you walk into an area that's radioactive.
Right.
I mean, your space is still your space. It's just been suddenly taken over by something you can't see. Now start looking at this in a societal, demographic, generational sense. It gets a little weird.
Interesting. Now, Ghost New Me says they've got a left arm tattoos of ancient signs and astrology signs.
Who's that?
That was they rolled by. I forgot.
Yeah, you have to do the speed reading. Like what?
Yeah, you do. Tattoo parlors used to be very seedy places. They're not anymore. A lot of them.
Oh no! In fact, it's a status.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you apparently have colored ink, that's apparently that's a step up.
And they're not cheap either, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, I'm bringing to my channel the origins of magic, true magic,
Mhm.
and holy crap, you, you come and go, what?
A New America and New America All New Again says that their lucid dreaming got way more intense after they got a dream catcher tattoo.
Woo! I bet you did, darling.
I'll bet
I
it did.
bet you did. You just, that's like, taking one of those energy drinks that,
Ooh, somebody says, how about tattooing the names of your dearly departed on you?
I contend this.
I
What,
wonder if you hold them back,
I don't know. All I
make it
know,
harder for them to release.
if you study sigil magic, um, I've got numerous books, but Jeff, it's the most powerful magic I know of. It really is. The whole Hebraic alphabet is nothing but sigils.
Mother of Dragon says she has a tattoo of a strawberry. She just likes them.
No, I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad. I'm just saying that, again, many times we don't think about what we're actually doing. I mean, I see people wearing crosses. I
What are
understand.
you thinking about?
It's like, now I know. It's a sigil. It's a powerful sigil.
It is. It really is. Yeah, I don't think that's a great idea to do that. That's just my personal opinion.
So, have you heard this new?
Oh, let's take it to another level, Wayne.
What's that?
Ghost New Me has the ashes of their brother in the ink of their tattoos.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It gets deep. I'm looking into this, and he's talking about the ink. There is all sorts of things that go back to ink.
Mm.
Alchemists used to be known by the fact that, and we've seen this throughout history, going back to the Egyptians, when you actually started taking ink of the earth, actually when they can make it, and put it to papyrus.
Electra Magnetica suggests that tattoos on the left side of your body take in the energy of the sigil, and those on the right side put out the intention of the sigil.
I don't know about that.
Don't either.
Yeah,
Interesting.
interesting. All I know is that it is powerful. There is an energy that is being either transferred, transmuted, or received.
Somebody says Sylvia Claudia said that, oh, not Sylvia Claudia, David McCain suggests that the Templars used invisible ink to tattoo themselves.
That wouldn't surprise me either.
Isn't that interesting?
You know, the whole thing with the Templars, when you think about them and the Cathars.
Mother Dragon says that a lot of these girls walking around with Chinese tramp stamps, most of them probably say, I'm a dumbass.
That reminded me episode of The Big Bang. Sheldon saw Penny naked, and he said, "Well, that tattoo says you really like soup." She says, "No, it's supposed to say I love love." He said, "Well, I don't know, but it's soup to me."
Isn't that funny? I love soup.
But yeah, I have seen some things, and it's amazing because I contend we live in a world of magic. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
When we started the show on the Matrix, the firmament, when you were showing all those, I could not help but go back to the Liber Lilith.
Mm.
Lilith explained the firmament in a way that I had never understood it before. And
Interesting.
yeah, it's it opened my eyes to a different set of points of view.
What about piercings?
Coming
up in the chat room.
That's another one. It is, again,
and completely unrelated, but it's just so funny. Somebody said they have penis tattoos in prison, and then the next line from Warrior Chat or from Warrior Queen is, "Hello, Peter." Leah Michelle dated a guy who had a split tongue like a snake.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Can you still enunciate your words when your tongue is split?
I don't see how you could.
Oh, that's just so. That's. I'm sorry. That's just gross.
And when it comes to piercings, there was a time in many different cultures where that was a status symbol.
To be pierced?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting.
Particularly having, a ring in the nose, gold, because commoners, couldn't afford gold.
I always related that to like an ox having a ring in its nose, a sign of
Yeah.
bondage. And I
Yeah.
remember there's a person said to me, got one, and said, "What do you think about this ring I got?" And I said, "Well, it reminds me of a slave." And she wasn't real pleased with my,
I bet she wasn't.
and she happened to be a black lady too. And I didn't think about it when I said it, but
Well, I'm trying to think. Moloch, when they would make sacrifices, I believe the bull
it did have a whole,
had.
yes, it
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. So that gets right into Judeo-Christianity. They don't realize they're worshiping the bull, but we won't get off into that. But now it was you were saying that those images were coming. All of them had the gold ring in their nose.
Yeah. And you think about the Bible, and I had it written on my whiteboard for a while. The Bible, it really teaches two different things. And even James said a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So the Bible, if you base your life on the Bible, you really are a double-minded person, and you're going to be unstable in all your ways. And that's the way they want you.
I think it is. I mean, you and I talked about which God are they worshiping here. It can't be the Hebraic God.
Yeah. And only on the Sunday morning show do you get something like this. Philip Blair says, "Why is the first pope also a name for the penis?"
Well, there's a lot of phallicness going about in the Vatican.
Is there not? That is for sure.
Well, people don't understand or research the cult of Bacchus. They don't go back and study how monotheism is basically nothing more than a hard-on.
Carrie asked if will we ever have a Pope Willie Johnson?
I don't think we're going to have very many popes left, to be candid with you. I think that the time is running out on that. So I saw this story today, Jeff. This is a weird one called the Jerusalem syndrome.
Explain, please.
Yes, sir. It's odd in the fact that apparently Christians, particularly coming from the United States, when they get over into Jerusalem, they begin to think that they're hearing directly from God.
Yeah, I've read about this before.
Yes, and they begin to take on personality disorders. They come back, friends, families, spouses. They say that they really are suddenly on a mission that God has personally given to them.
Well, maybe there's a principality over that area that jumps on people and affects people.
You think?
Oh, I think so.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, the interesting thing about the book of Mark, which is
speaking of tattoos.
Yes. No, are you speaking of tattoos with Mark?
Mark tattoos.
Yeah, exactly. It's the only gospel, the only book in the Bible that deals with demons in an extent that we never knew about. And more importantly, if you take the context, it would indicate that the demons are everywhere. Now, I follow that up with because there is a new multi-billion-dollar industry emerging worldwide. It's exorcisms.
Oh, there is. Electromagnetica says that in another incarnation, she was a pope.
I wouldn't. Okay.
Were you a female pope?
Those guys weren't very good hombres.
No.
No. Pope Pius X always said it the best. oh, how profitable this thing called religion.
Yep.
And the thing was, they knew Jesus was a fraud then as a fraud now.
Absolutely. They knew it for sure.
Yeah. But getting back to the Gospel of Mark, because in this story, the Messiah walks in, and every village, the first thing he did was cast out demons.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, in many of his accounts going into these villages, it would almost indicate virtually every person in the village was demon possessed.
Oh, that's an interesting extrapolation. Yeah, I can see where you're going with that.
All right.
And he wouldn't even have to do anything. He'd just walk in and they'd start yelling out, supposedly.
Yes. All right. So let's go to modern day. There's so much energy into that region now, psychic energy. Why wouldn't it be a festering hotbed of, if demonic spirits exist? It seems like they're there by the billions.
Kaya Murphy says that there's an episode of The Simpsons where Homer goes to the Holy Land and gets taken over by a spirit.
See, that's my point. This is just really odd because, you go back in, particularly with the Liber Lilith, it says where Samuel, who is what is worshipped as Yahweh, that when he laid with Lilith, that all Lilith did was give birth to innumerable amounts of demons.
Wow.
So let's see about that. We talked about the firmament, becoming unstable, and Lilith teaches that is occupied by principalities. Oh, I know where I heard that from. Ephesians 6:12.
Yep.
So much of what I read about Paul, I found came directly out of the Liber Lilith.
Can you be possessed, asked Philip Blair, by a benevolent demon? Well, benevolence and possession are mutually exclusive, but I guess you could open yourself up to a spirit that says it's benevolent. But remember, they don't work for free.
No. And this is just my point of view. I don't buy into the whole demon angel thing. I mean, if you're buying into that crap, then that says that, well, then there is this thing called God that has this good and evil, which means they got this thing called Satan. Folks, that is a made up construct.
It is.
It doesn't exist.
There's just energy. There's balanced energy. There's unbalanced energy. And take it from a guy that spent 20 years casting out demons. I now know that there is no such thing as bad energy, evil energy, or good energy. There's just energy. Now, it does carry the intent of the person that projects it, but all you have to do is you don't have to cast out demons. You just have to rebalance that energy or create a field of balanced energy so the thing that doesn't want to be balanced will flee.
So I have a little skit that I do to demonstrate why I don't believe in it. So this
remember the skits at church, Wayne?
I do. I was part of them.
Those were so bad
skit.
Most of the time.
Here I am. I cast you out in the name of Jesus. Demon. Who? Jesus. Who? I'm talking about the Lord Jesus Christ. I cast you out in his name. I'm sorry, I converted to Muslim. No, I'm an Islam. So I don't buy your God. I mean,
yep.
What? I mean, the absurdity of all of this is that we project this dualistic, monotheistic mind trap over into the spirit realm.
Here's a great statement that I haven't put together before. When you think about Babel, which means confusion, BBL, that's an awful lot like Bible.
Isn't it? What is it? The Bible?
Ooh.
It's
oh, nuts. How about this, Wayne? What if, I'm going to write this down. What if the Bible was introduced at the Tower of Babel?
Oh, perfect entree for it.
Yeah. That's what confused languages. That's what divided people.
Yeah. And, it's, I want to say something about our president. Um, this guy is he is doing a mind coitus on the whole world of a level that I don't even think they're aware of.
And Wayne, we should say hello to Derek Rose, Global Witness, just came in the chat
Oh,
room.
Derek, how are you doing? Um, I love this guy. So you know what I went out and did? I went and got The Art of the Deal.
I have a signed copy of The Art of the Deal. I met Donald Trump before he was president, talked to him for 15 minutes. I was talking to him. I was so into talking to him and into our conversation. I went to walk away and he touched me on the shoulder. He goes, "Did you want me to sign that?"
You want to sign this? Read chapter 7. 7 and 8.
Rocky Stucci's rule number 1 is in Art of the Deal.
Yeah. Is that right?
Well, rule number 1 from Rocky Stucci is don't take no shit from nobody.
No. And
that's in the Art of the Deal.
And in chapter 6, it's always keeping your opponent off balance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he did a perfect job this week. I mean, the whole go ahead.
He just today announced, speaking of keeping your opponent off balance, he just said, okay, I'll put off the deportation raids for 2 weeks if you guys got 2 weeks to make a deal with me on the border, or here we come. That's brilliant strategy.
I think he's got them so off balance that now they're thinking, wait a minute. I don't know if you know this, but he actually sent a letter to Kim and telling him not to be just basically distracted by all this, that they have this friendship. What I'm trying to say, this guy is, I think, so typifying the world, the reality we live in today.
And he also, word is that he asked for a meeting with Khomeini, the Ayatollah,
he did.
Iran.
Brilliant. I tell you what.
And I tell you what, Wayne, I have said on many occasions that Trump is bought and paid for. And he did owe $1 billion. They bailed him out of $1 billion of personal debt, this group of bankers. Every one of these bankers really wanted Jerusalem to be the site of the embassy and that recognizes the capital of Israel. They really wanted sovereignty and the recognition of their sovereignty over the Golan Heights. And picture, if you will, the Oval Office, President Trump saying, hey, I know you guys really want the Golan Heights. You really want us to recognize it. I could do that. And I know you guys really want Jerusalem to be the embassy. I could do that too. And no president's ever done that. No one other than me will do that. And they're, oh, yes, Mr. President, we appreciate it so much. He's walking by the office. He says, oh, by the way, that $1 billion that you have over me, it's gone. It's done. We're even. I think Trump may have bought his sovereignty back, and he may not be bought and paid for anymore.
Well, I found it.
You know how it goes, Wayne. It's $1 billion. It's only $1 billion. They couldn't, with all their billions, they couldn't have bought either one of those things.
No, and it's just merely a keystroke to a computer to erase that.
Yep.
So let's carry that forward. All right. So the royal family in Saudi.
We're going to get in trouble for being Trump supporters, right?
Oh, we've already are targeted. So
yeah. But I mean, some of people will even get mad at us.
It's a delirium that Hey, listen, I didn't like Obama. But, I respected the man because he held the office of the United States as the president.
And I should say that Robert, USN vet, third generation, is the one that dropped that little idea into my head. And I'm like, dude, you're right.
Well, I mean, the Saudis, they said today the idea of ever going to war with Israel is over. If you
the Saudis said that. That's huge. That's
huge.
That's huge.
So you have Kushner out there.
He's still troublesome to me.
Let me tell you what, something's going on. He's been almost exclusively, I think they're going to announce a peace deal. I really do.
I think they will. You're talking about Middle East, Middle Eastern peace.
Yep. I think they are. I think that something's going on here, and it's weird. I mean, who knows? But God, there's just a lot of strangeness going on. A lot of it.
And a lot of people say it's a really, really scary time. Wayne, I think it's an exciting time to be alive.
I'm having the best time of my existence. I am so grateful and thankful. I told on my channel that we've got to learn to be appreciative of the gift of consciousness.
And we're talking about President Trump at 4500 on our show.
Isn't that interesting?
And if you hate Donald Trump, and you can hate President Trump if you want, but explain to me how you can hate a man that says, okay, we're going to strike Iran, these strategic targets, because they shot down our drone. And then they say, oh, Mr. President, we estimate 160 odd casualties. And what do you say about a man that says, you know what? I'm not willing to kill 160 humans over a drone. Call it off.
Love the dude. You got to, hate. Why hate?
Yeah.
The opposite of this dualistic in our political systems. So you have what one side that says they're the right, the other side that says they're the left. I don't understand hate. Isn't that the common denominator that destroys all of us?
Absolutely. And really, the left wing, the right wing, they're just two wings in the same dirty bird.
It's all it is. It's not even the opposite side of the coin. They're on the same side of the coin. I told you.
Maria says, at least your president is manly. We have a gay pride parading Trudeau in Canada. He's in trouble.
Trudeau?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I think we've become the idea of a two-party system was so that they could come and moderate.
Oh, absolutely. Divide and conquer.
I don't know. I'm absolutely dreading this upcoming presidential
election. Yeah. But one thing that still does bother me is the amount of hardcore Christians and neocons in Trump's cabinet.
You and I were talking about this.
Keep your friends close and your enemies closer, Wayne?
Yeah, well, that's maybe true. But, I'm no fan of the evangelical side of the equation. I've been in those groups and probably was in the elite group.
And did you hear Trump yesterday where he said, I have an idea. Let's make Iran great again. Says, I'm willing to help make Iran great again. All they have to do is say that they won't build a nuclear device and we can make Iran great again. Wow.
He's going back, and I'll bet you many people here, even in the chat room, fail to understand what happened in Iran. When the Shah was the guy.
People used to go on vacation in Iran. It was beautiful.
Did. It was called the what was it? The Pearl of the Middle East.
That and Lebanon.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, so I see where Trump is going. When the Ayatollah came in and the radical, which we would call the Democrats, when they came into Iran, they basically ran out the other opposition.
Is that Sunni or Shia in Iran?
I think they are Sunni.
Yeah, because the rest of the Middle East basically is the other ones.
Yeah,
Sunni and Shia. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Again, that's brilliant. It would counter the previous administration's attempt in keeping this divide between the United States and Iran always there.
Yeah.
And I loved Trump's approach.
Iran is Shia, they say.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah. So,
and the rest of them are Sunni. And that's like, Shia, Sunni, it's not like, just two denominations. They really hate each other, right?
They do. They really do.
Do you know what the difference is? I have no idea what the difference is.
Do not. I don't. I've done my best to try to read the Quran. It's a difficult That's a prism I don't want to go into.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
Yeah,
I'd really rather not.
like, okay, no, all right.
Wayne, when you think about this, think about reading the Quran or reading the Bible. Do those words themselves become sigils?
Yes. We actually, that's why they tell you, and you and I did this. Remember, read through the Bible in a year,
Yep.
and it is exactly that. You're speaking the incantation over yourself.
You are. And somebody suggests that Shia Sunni's reminiscent of Catholic Protestant.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, if you read certain history books, Dr. Charles, in his book, In the Search of the Historical Jesus, he contends that Islam was started by the Catholic Church.
Yeah, I'm digging into that. I really hope I could find some proof because it makes sense logically, Socratically, it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking for the smoking gun, so to speak.
Yeah, because, it's a recent religion, just like Christianity. If you take the birth of Christianity, I put the birth of Christianity about 425.
Yeah, I'd say a little bit earlier, but we're right in the same.
Yeah, right. That same. It was several centuries after an event that took place that it was predicated on.
Allegedly.
And then the Islam came into existence about 635.
Isn't that amazing? And remember to abide by the. Let's be cool in the chat room and make sure that we're being cool in the chat room.
Everyone has a right to believe what they want.
They do.
And when you do comparative studies of religion in any university, you're in fact, I have one of the best textbooks that you can actually do in comparative studies. It's really interesting because the Abrahamic beliefs are truly modern day religions.
And you know what's also interesting, Wayne, and this just hit me, until the rise of monotheism, like Christianity, well, actually it would have been Judaism first, Judaism/Zoroastrianism.
Mm-hmm.
There was not this idea of doctrine. There was not this idea of here's a book, this is what you do. It was a living, breathing faith until we got to this monotheism that says, no, one God, here's the book, memorize it. Read your sigils.
Read your sigils.
Oh, read your sigil. And Bible and sigil, they're not synonyms. What are they? What is it? They sound alike, but they're not alike. Sigil, Bible, sigil.
They're are they not
homonyms?
Homonyms. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. They are. And
homonym sounds like hominid.
Yes.
Here we go.
It's all tied up in there. And again,
English is a sigil.
Well, actually, English is the magic language of our era. If you trace it comes from the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians were traders of these documents.
Interesting.
It's all, and so
somebody says Mohammedans dye their beard red because Muhammad was a redheaded white dude.
Yes, that's true. He when he rode into heaven, the horse that he rode on had the head of a human that had red hair and red beard.
For some reason, that just makes me think F you and the horse you rode in on. But that might explain why they don't want any pictures or depictions of Muhammad, because how hard would it be to explain that you're following
a white dude?
Our prophet looks like the great Satan.
No, are you ready for this? I think it came from the Irish culture.
Oh, there we go. Back to Ireland.
All right. Am I wrong?
There's that book, History Began at Sumer.
Yes.
It might have began a little north from there, a little northwest.
Then you have Göbekli Tepe that we have to. But the point is, this whole region, I did a whole video on snake worship.
Ooh, cursive writing.
Cursive, exactly.
It's a curse. Because if you think about it, well, it depends upon your type of sigils, but cursive writing does look more sigilistic, if you would, than
it does
regular printing.
Well, and the thing about when you create a sigil is that you take the words that the sigil is representing, and in the English language to set that. I want to
Yeah.
go back to the whole thing though with Ireland,
Was
and
Muhammad a giant? Because a lot of the giants were redheads.
it kind of defies this whole understanding. I mean, most
But
people
it would
think,
explain how he was able to take all of those tribes and make them into one single monotheistic religion. If he was a big bad giant, it would have been easier.
I think if you would ask most people in the United States what color is God, they'll tell you he's a white dude.
Oh, and Cliff brings up a nice point. Maybe cursive is the opposite of bad because they don't want to teach it anymore.
Well, they have done, and they are stopping to teach that. That's interesting.
So why would they stop teaching it? That's very interesting. Thank you, Cliff Desmond, one of South Florida's great radio voices. We'll have him coming
Thank
up.
you, Cliff. That's a very insightful, because they're changing everything. I just saw this report. Do you know in China, they're now monitoring the brain waves of their children in the classroom. They have a monitor in there, and they can look at each child's level of concentration.
Wow. And somebody says they stopped teaching shorthand long ago.
Isn't that interesting? And shorthand truly was a sigilistic way of communicating.
Interesting.
That's what I'm telling you. It's everywhere. And we get back to the tattoos. We're having human beings sigilize themselves and never understanding. They don't understand magic. They don't understand intent. They don't understand transmutation of energy. I keep telling people, Introduction to Hermetics by Franz Barton is probably one of the best books I know of. It's a deep read, but
interesting. How are you going to sign your name without cursive, Griffin Walker? And how about this one right here? Jake Letzler says, and I think he's going back to Toth on this. Oh yeah, Toth said to follow curved lines because straight lines and right angles are where what? Demons and unbalanced spirits gather.
Yes, that's exactly what he said.
That's why I want to live in a round house, Wayne.
Makes sense. You think about today because everything is on square corners.
Yep.
I mean,
and there's no straight lines in nature.
This just gets weird. I mean, I found this revelation on death. You ever had surgery?
The closest thing I had to surgery was my wisdom teeth out. I had some arthroscopic surgery on the knee, but that's about it.
Did they put you out?
I got put out for the wisdom teeth. I had all four of them out at once.
Well, then you know what death is.
Really?
Yes.
That's what it feels like to die, huh?
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yeah, the study just came out in.
So now I also know what it's like to come back from the dead then.
Yes, that's the point. You know, when I was in the coma for 8 days, I don't remember anything.
So if Jesus did come back from the dead, if he really did die and he really did come back from the dead, anything he said for the next 12 hours, forget about.
The dude was high, man.
he was a wreck. So there goes a lot of the Bible. Sorry, guys.
I got this book called The Magic Mushroom and the Cross, and
I bought that book, but I haven't read it yet.
Oh, you're gonna love it. All right, so let's just this will be a good way to kind of bring the day into it. So they're finding something out about the Middle East that is not been well known, and that's cannabis, marijuana.
What about it?
Well, it's been widely consumed by humans. They can go back to at least 3,000 years ago.
Interesting.
And in many of the Middle Eastern cultural ritualistics, hemp was used, marijuana, THC.
Isn't that interesting?
Along with the psilocybin mushroom and along with a number of other plants.
Tiddley says, no wonder he looked like a roughed up gardener. Jesus, you're not looking very good.
I mean, and the motif that they paint him in, the clothes, the look. I mean, brother, that was Woodstock.
It was, man.
I don't care what anyone says.
I don't know what he was saying, but I'll bet he was laughing.
Well, he seemed to have a lot of joy,
and he was probably drooling on himself.
And he had a lot of women around him, you know.
Well, got to give the brother that, huh?
Well, listen, I think we know how he swang, and
If he had a lot of women and a lot of pot, ooh, there's a good time.
I'm telling you, they were dancing, dancing in
But
the moonlight.
David Gregg asked a great question. What would Johnny Ringo do?
Exactly. Well, I'm your huckleberry.
You know, if they said that somebody said to Jesus, "You don't look so good," and Jesus said, "I'm in my prime."
Oh no! What he said is, "I'm your huckleberry."
Oh, that's so funny.
uh,
But you know what I say to Jesus? You're no Daisy. You're no Daisy at all.
why am I getting this scene of Doc Holliday telling Jesus, "Well, why Jesus looks like someone just walked over your grave"?
That's awesome. I love it.
Oh no, no, no!
Oh, there's a skit, there's a show there. What would Doc Holliday have said to Jesus?
Oh my
And
goodness!
right on time, it's 420 people in the chat room.
Exactly. And this is what he was saying to him. Poor fool, he's just too wound too tight.
Yeah. His heart he was just too high strung.
Too high strung. That's it.
His heart couldn't bear the strain.
Well, we just got sent to hell in about a half dozen other religions. So.
Oh, we did. What was that? What is that shirt that you have? Say, I'm going to hell in so many different religions or
Yes,
something?
I think that's exactly what it said. Jeff, what have we done?
Wow.
And I mean, I got that scene. I'm just seeing the dude who played Jesus of Nazareth and Doc Holliday in the movie.
You could have Val Kilmer and Jimmy Caviezel.
Well, and the one scene at the shootout at the creek, remember, and he says, "Where's Wyatt? Walking on water, yeah. I'm sure."
He's down by the creek, walking on water.
He just met Jesus.
He did. Wow, that's amazing stuff.
Oh, I can see Curly Bill going, "What? Why, look at that.
Curly Bill, yeah. Will you look at that?
Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeff. Oh,
what did Curly Bill say to Jesus when he ascended to heaven? Well, bye.
Bye.
Oh, that's amazing. Man. Jesus goes to Tombstone.
No, he was saying, he says, "I'm really worried about the gang that Johnny Ringo took over."
That's right. God, what's going to happen to this outfit when Ringo takes over?
Jeez.
Wow.
Well, whole freaking movie here, buddy.
It's over an hour, so I guess we're done here. It's pancake time.
Yeah, yes, it is. Boy, my wife's going to say, "What were y'all laughing about?" I say, "You're going to have to watch. Going to have to watch."
I know. That's awesome. That's
well,
awesome.
This has been fun. This has been a lot of fun.
It really has been. It always is.
Yeah.
I remember at 34 minutes, I'm like, oh, this is kind of grinding to a halt here. And then all of a sudden, boom.
Oh.
We're an hour in.
We're it's that next stage from Mach 1 to Mach 2.
It really is. There's a little pause there.
Yeah, and we're off. Excellent. So what do you got going on this week?
Oh, Wayne, I can't even tell you all the stuff we got going on this week. In a week from yesterday, we'll have I use the word extravaganza a lot, but this really is an extravaganza. Laura Eisenhower and Magenta Pixie joining me together on this channel.
Excellent.
That's going to be fun.
Yep. Yeah, I like that. Contrast is good.
And then you throw me in there and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, well, that just gets more saturation.
It's going to be fun times. It's going to be fun times. We've got, thank you for reminding me, Wayne. Tomorrow we have the new and improved Last Stand, and we'll be introducing our new co-host.
Excellent.
And our new co-host will be a long-term industry veteran going all the way back to 70s LA radio, a guy who's a famous voiceover artist, a man that has pioneered technologies in recording and in broadcasting. The new co-host for The Last Stand will be the one, the only, the Professor, Robert Bauer.
Excellent.
I'm really excited to have him joining us.
That is, I think, Be tuning in for that. It's tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Central.
Okay.
And it's the new Last Stand with Robert Bauer
Excellent.
and Jeffrey Daugherty. Robert Stanley and Jenny Moonstone will be our go-to co-hosts when one of us are unable to attend. So we're looking forward to it. That's just how, and Jenny has committed to a once-a-month appearance, so it's going to be really, really nice.
Excellent.
And Robert has too, so it's going to be beautiful.
Well, I'm happy to hear that. Way to go, buddy. You know, they can't keep us down.
Oh, no, we're just getting started.
They try, but, you know, listen, you know, I used to get really angry with YouTube.
We're in our prime.
We are, and, you know, I just
B-O-W-E-R.
What's that?
Somebody said B-A-U-E-R. Interesting name. No, B-O-W-E-R.
Okay. I just say that we just invoke favor.
Oh, thank you. And that works. Let me just say that works.
It does.
That ritual you taught me, getting naked, lighting a candle, invoking favor, it's very, very powerful.
It works. It works every time, Jeff.
It does. That is my experience, that it works every time. The professor and Marianne. Well, the professor and Jenny Moonstone, I mean, draw your analogies.
Well, it's not gender.
And Robert Stanley. I mean, wow, what can you say, huh?
I think that's good class. I think that's
absolutely.
I think that's a good group.
Well, for what you got coming up this week, Wayne?
We're doing Talking with the Planets again, which is most interesting.
I'll bet.
It is. So, yeah. And Trina and I do a show usually Wednesdays or Thursdays. And so, yeah. And just teaching people about, in fact, I'm going to tell you, I'm really looking forward to this, Jeff. I'm going to be teaching on the law of attractiveness.
Oh, nice. Trina Alessandro, I believe her name is.
Yes, Trina Alessandro.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people need to understand the law of attracting. Most people attract the wrong things in their life, and they want to bitch about their current status, and what they don't realize is that they actually attracted it into their life.
I'm not even going to read that joke that David McCain just made, but it's funny.
What's that?
I can't. I'm sorry, I won't. But I just can't.
Oh, I just saw that.
Did you see it?
I saw that.
I've never heard that before, but yeah, let's just move right on past it. Pretend like we didn't even say anything.
Hey, little true fact. If you ever go to Newport Beach there in California, and you can actually rent a boat in the harbor right there in Newport. As you're going out through to the ocean, you're going to see a little cove over on the left-hand side. That's where they filmed the scenes for Gilligan's Island with the boat. Interesting.
Well, Wayne, stay there real quick. I want to share a little tidbit with you before we leave. But
all right,
folks, for our Wayne Steiger, I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian whistleblower. So nice to have you all with us this morning. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and let's make this the best week of your life. What do you say?
I'll say. I go for it.
All righty, then. We'll see you again real soon, folks.
Bye-bye.